So let's go see what's in this garage. Hey everybody, it's a very cloudy day today. I don't think I'm going to go on a hike because I want to show you what's in that garage. Do you remember what was in there before? Wow. What a f***ing mess. And I also said that I had to store something in there. Do you remember that? I have to clean this garage. I have to take everything out of there. I have to get a car up the driveway and into this garage. I think that's going to be another video of why there's going to be another car in the garage. I'll put a link to that video down below in the description. So let's go see what's in this garage. And there it is. This is a 1964 Corvette. I want to talk to you about why this car is here. Before we do that, let's go for a little ride. I have to say it's a very fun car. This car actually came from my dad. I'm not sure if I talked about this before, but my dad was really into classic cars. In fact, I just remembered most of my life growing up with classic cars. Even before I was born, he was buying and selling them. He worked at a car dealership. He had quite a collection of older cars. When I turned 16, my very first car was a 1968 Firebird. My brother also had a classic car, so we always grew up with classic cars as something that meant a lot to him. My dad really loved Corvettes, all different years, but especially this one. This is a 1964. I think he had a couple of these actually before. So when he passed away, I think he wanted someone to kind of look after the car. He didn't really say this specifically, but he kept hinting at it. You know, I made an agreement when he was passing that I would watch over the car for him. I haven't had one of these kind of cars in a very long time. I sold my 1968 Firebird when I was 23, right before I moved to Seattle. Really didn't miss them much. Once in a while I would see one and wonder, wonder what it'd be like to have one of those again. But really it wasn't strong enough passion for me to purchase one of these cars. So, you know, having it here brings up a couple things. First, it brings me back to my teenage years, cruising around in Fresno, sometimes racing. Also, this car reminds me of my dad. I think he really wanted someone to have this car so we wouldn't forget about him. Yeah, every time I drive it, I try to drive it once a week. Sometimes I don't. I'll take my son in it. I've taken my daughter just around the block. They're not very safe. But I try to get it out once a week, and I almost can feel them in the passenger seat when I'm driving the car. One thing I had to do, though, when it was shipped over, is to get it running good. When it came over, it wasn't running so well. I wasn't sure what it was, and I also didn't want to deal with fixing old cars. As you can see, the looks of it's really good, but the engine wasn't running so good. So eventually I took it to a mechanic and had it fixed, and it was running a little bit better. I had a part replaced though, and when they replaced the part, there's a little tube that goes into this part, and it's where you put the oil in. It's called the oil tube. And I have a feeling that they pounded it in really hard, and what this thing was going into was a aluminum intake. So it cracked this intake. Check out this picture right here. When I got it back from this other mechanic, I didn't realize it until a few days later. I was looking at the engine and I noticed that big crack in it. I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And all I thought was, first of all, money going down the drain. So I almost wanted to sell the car, but again, I'm just trying to meet my dad's wishes of taking care of the car and watching over the car. I decided to work on this myself, and I didn't know really how to do it. And I decided that it would be a fun project for my son and I to do. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos, but I remember going through my head as like, oh my gosh, you're not going to be able to do this. You're going to break something. You know, we should probably take it to somebody who knows what they're doing. I wanted to try, not necessarily for me, I wanted to show my son that sometimes we don't believe in ourselves, or we think we can't do something. And usually it's just that kind of thinking that gets in the way of actually doing something. You probably heard in one of my videos about my experience during my solo retreat when I was doing 1,000 bows a day. If you haven't heard it, I did a 90-day solo retreat in 2006, and I had my teacher write up the schedule for me. And when I looked at the schedule, he had me doing 1,000 bows a day. That's 1,000 full prostrations every day for 90 days. It was broken up into 5 sessions, so 200 bows 5 times a day, and that included midnight practice. So day number 3, I'm bowing and bowing and bowing, and everything really hurts. My back hurts, my knees hurts, and I'm thinking to myself, am I going to be able to do this? So I started kind of thinking about the retreat wondering, let's see, it's day number 3. So I have 87 days more left of the retreat. And then I realized I have 87,000 bows to complete. And when I heard that number in my head, I automatically thought, I can't do this. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this. But then this other side kicked in. Oh, I can do this. I've sat a lot of long retreats. I've done lots of practice and have experience sitting these retreats and a little experience with bowing. I can do this. And then I thought about that number again, 87,000 bows. I can't do this. Then, oh, I can do this. I can. And we all have that experience sometimes in our life. It's just a natural result of this ego or of this I that we create. It's either this or that. I can do it. I can't do it. I'm good. I'm not good. People like me. People don't like me. I'm winning. I'm losing, right? That's just a natural result of this opposites world that we created. So as I'm bowing and bowing and bowing, I'm fighting and struggling. And finally, I just let go and realize that, you know what? I'm not sure if I can do this or not. I don't know. But this bow is possible. I went down, stood back up. This bow possible. Went down, stood back up. And that's really how I was able to finish retreat. That experience really helped my life. I call it don't know in action. And I pretty much treat everything in my life about that. So when I was working on the car, I had the same mind. Oh, I can't do this. And no, you can do this. And I can't do this. You can do this. And just realized, you know what? I'm not sure if I can do this or not. But I can take this bolt off. No problem. I can take this bolt off. Very good. And of course, YouTube videos these days are very helpful. Back when I was a teenager, we didn't have this kind of access. You had a manual and you had to go through it. So I watched a lot of videos. And it was really interesting working with my son on this car when we were taking this intake manifold off, because we got stuck a lot. Like, I'm not sure what to do here. And sometimes we would just stare at it and just look at it kind of more intuitively, not think about it so much, and then take another step. And that's how we actually were able to fix the car. So we got the manifold off. I took the aluminum manifold to a welder. He fixed that patch and then put it back on the car, put everything back together. Not only did we get the car back together, it runs better than it ever has. And it was really satisfying. My wife and I did a parent training at our kids' school, because her and I volunteer every other week in the classroom. And they were talking about learning. And this learning strategy was called BAG. B stands in belief, A stands for action, and G stands for growth. So the first step is that the child has to believe that they can do it. But what's important after that is they have to take action. Once they have belief and action, then there's growth in what they are learning. And I thought that was very interesting and really connected to Zen practice. You often hear me talking about believing in our true self, but it's not really a belief in an idea. It's an intuitive sense, this belief in our true self, this belief that we already are enlightened in this moment. I think that's one of the most important steps. And next is we have to take action. So if we want to live our lives in a way that's clear and helpful, we have to take action. We have to do something. So first step is to believe in our true self, take action, and help this world. Now, in Zen, we don't usually talk about growth per se, because the growth really happens in this moment. All the different types of meditation, whether it's the sitting meditation or the chanting meditation or even the bowing meditation, all have the same purpose, to help us realize our true self. Then belief appears by itself. If we connect to this world intuitively, where our mind and the world become one, then action appears. Zen practice is not supposed to be esoteric or to disconnect us from society or to get us to some special state. It's about helping each other, learning how to be a human being, and using our wisdom, love, compassion in every moment of our lives. Those are my thoughts for the day. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. I know it's a little different than what I usually do, but I thought I'd share part of my dad with you and kind of keep his spirits alive. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all very soon.